Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the extracurricular activities that I had when I applied to universities and what you can do to improve the activities that you're participating in right now. All of these extracurricular activities I believe had an impact on getting me into some of the best programs in Canadian universities such as UWaterloo Engineering, Waterloo Engineering, Queen's Commerce and Western Ivey. I'll also be going over some of the reasons why extracurricular activities are also important to you outside of just university applications for your personal growth as well as your academic growth as well. So without further ado, let's jump right in. You may be grade 9 when you're watching this video, or you might be doing your university applications right now. I just want to stress that the extracurricular portions are only a fraction of what universities look for when you apply to them here in Canada, but also that not all programs will look at your extracurricular activities, so don't worry too much yet. Okay, so the first reason why high school students should participate in extracurricular activities is that it helps you grow as a person. There are so many areas for personal growth, academic growth, growth in your personality, and in so many different areas by joining in different extracurricular activities. Take DECA, for example, a business club. When I joined DECA in grade 9, I had zero clue about business, and through the club I was able to just learn a lot about the business world, but also just in general where there are different areas that I was able to really expand on my knowledge in areas such as arts or hospitality and stuff like that. Or if you're on a sports team at your school, staying healthy and fit is also a great thing. Too many people do extracurricular activities just to put on their resume, but that's not a really good thing to do, and in fact that's probably the worst thing you can do. This means that instead of spending like 2 hours a week on a health club that you give no ducks about, you should just put it in something that you actually are passionate and you actually are interested in. This way you could really grow from that experience, and universities really care about that. And guess what? After looking over thousands of resumes and applications every year, I'm pretty sure universities are very good at catching out which activities you're interested in and which ones you did just to put on a resume. The second reason why you should participate in extracurricular activities is just the plethora of experiences that you get to participate in during that time. High school is a journey. You're gonna meet new friends, find new passions, you're gonna go different places in the world, and overall, extracurricular activities really help you with that. So my school has a clubs fair very early on in the year where you could tour different clubs and ask the club executives about what each club does, what the timings are for their meetings, what the commitment is. And if your school doesn't have that, I highly recommend that you ask your student council or someone who's in charge of the clubs at your school to sort of at least put out a brochure so that you could look over which clubs are in your school so that you could participate in the ones that you are interested in. So clubs inside of schools really allow you to just meet people in your school that you probably wouldn't have because of different classes or different grades. You also get to talk to different teachers who are the staff supervisors of these clubs, and you learn a lot from them as well because they're also passionate and interested about the club that they're supervising. So for me, being on DECA, it allowed me to travel the world. Like last year, I got to go to Orlando. We participated in ICDC, which is an international business competition, and my partner and I came third internationally, which was really, really cool. But also just the experience of flying out on a plane during school days while a lot of people who just are participating in clubs that they don't care about can't just stay back in school, and you really see the difference because we got to go to Universal. I got to really make closer bonds with a lot of my friends during that trip, and it was just phenomenal. But extracurricular activities aren't just limited to in-school clubs or sports teams or intramurals or extracurricular activities. You could also participate in outside school organizations where you could volunteer in. You could also work a job. These are just so many other opportunities outside the school where you could participate in. Some examples of these include youth councils, as well as just other organizations like nonprofits or charities, or just organizations that help out the local community. By participating in extracurricular activities outside of school, you get to meet people in the actual workforce, you get to meet different executives at companies, and you really get to experience what life is like after high school and what life is like within your school community or in your local community, so that you could really make greater and deeper ties with the people surrounding you. Not only that, outside school extracurricular activities also help a lot with networking as well, because you get to meet people who are actually in the workforce. And when you participate in all these extracurricular activities and you compare those to your friends who don't, you'll see a big difference when applying to university, because for you, you'll have a whole bunch of clubs, organizations that you're passionate about and that reflect what you are applying to, compared to people who don't have any, or people who just have 100 clubs that they put down but aren't interested in either of them. Well, lastly, the third most important reason to participate in extracurricular activities in high school is for your university applications. You see the order that I put here, where it's your personal growth, it's about expanding your experiences, and now it helps your university applications. The order matters, because by joining clubs that you care about and you're passionate about, it will reflect in all the other sections, and then you can actually showcase that. So whenever you're doing an extracurricular activities, always keep in mind the order of importance: growth, experience, and then application. Okay, so now we're in the university section. Most, if not all, top programs in Canada will ask you to put down your extracurricular activities. All the programs that I applied to, as I mentioned before, such as UFT Engineering, Waterloo Engineering, Queen's Commerce and Western Ivey, also ask of your extracurricular activities. Obviously, having some extracurricular activities is always good, and having a lot could also be good. But remember, there's the law of diminishing return. With another extracurricular activity that you put down, it means less and less, to the point where you might be putting down that you work 130 hours a week just for your extracurricular activities, which is just impossible, because you have to sleep and go to school and eat and do everything else. So put down what you feel are the most important ones to you, but also ones that correlate with the university program you're applying to. So we talked about sort of the breadth of the extracurricular activities that you participate in. You should also try to strive to diversify yourself in a way, and not just only do, let's say, math clubs and math contests if you're applying to a math major. Maybe show some interest in other areas, because you're not a one-dimensional person. You have different interests and different passions, and try to show that within the extracurricular activities that you put down. But also, you have to keep in mind that depth is also important. Universities want to see you sort of staying in a club or participating in something for a long time. They don't want to see you participate in something for just a week or a month just to put down, but over 4 years. And that's like the best thing, because then they'll know you really love this club. You've been through it from grade 9 to grade 12. You've done so many aspects. You know the ins and outs of everything with this club. And they want people like that in their programs, because they know they'll stick around and they'll really participate in the university campus life as well. So adding on to that, universities rather see you do like 3 or 4 activities, but you spend like dozens of hours on them a month, instead of doing 20 activities and you spend like 1 hour at most for each of them. Because I'm pretty sure not everyone in the admissions office has a math major, but they can add up the numbers and they can know when you do a few things a lot, they know that you're passionate and you love that club or extracurricular activity. So as I mentioned before, even if the activities that you do don't particularly match the clubs that you're applying to, it's still good to put them down, especially if you're in a leadership position in those clubs. For example, if you're a club executive, if you're the club president, or if you are some organizer for the club or extracurricular activity, they love that. Universities love students who showcase that they have leadership potential and that they are willing to be involved in their school, in their community, and just overall be involved in their life. So now we're going into the section where I talk about the extracurricular activities that I put down when I applied to University of Toronto Engineering, University of Waterloo Engineering, Queen's Commerce and Western Ivey, and got accepted to all of them. These extracurricular activities, I just want to tell you guys, you don't need to do everything. You don't even need to do a tenth of these to get in. It just helps you with your university applications. As well, if you're applying to a program that doesn't need extracurricular activities, then don't worry. Just focus on your marks and focus on having a good time and doing things that you like. So some of the extracurricular activities that I participated in and talked about in the extracurricular section in my university application was my experience on student council, in DECA, the school newspaper, also numerous outside school organizations such as our constituency youth council, also a youth advisory group for the Toronto Public Library, and numerous sports teams that I participated inside and outside of school. Most of these I was in a leadership position, like I was the president of my student council, I was the head of operations for our DECA chapter, I was an apprentice for an outreach manager position for numerous years on the school newspaper, etc., etc. I think some of these traits, like the leadership that I've shown, the experience, the depth, because of the amount of time that I put into each of these activities, really indicate to universities that I'm willing to put my all in their program and that I'm suitable for their program because of just my experience and what I've done in high school, that have really showed how I've grown and the experiences that I had that really made me be a better person academically, but also personality wise, which is something that universities love to see. So some tips surrounding this section of the university application with extracurricular activities. Some universities will ask for you to put down a reference so that they can call or email them to ask if you actually participated in such activity, because some people put down activities that they weren't part of at all. But always make sure to put down the club's staff advisor. Hopefully, usually you want to put down an adult, someone in a position of power like a teacher or the volunteer organizer, someone along those lines, and always contact them before putting down their name, because it's very, very weird for them to get a phone call all of a sudden for, let's say, from the University of Waterloo, and you didn't tell them that you were applying there and you didn't tell them that you put down their name. It leaves a bad impression on you and the admissions officer from your teacher, because the teacher's like, what the heck? Okay, yeah, he was part of it, but like, he didn't tell me about this. And then the admissions officer is like, okay, this guy's kind of irresponsible for not telling his staff advisor. So just make sure you email or contact your club or extracurricular staff advisor before putting down their name as a reference. As well as some other programs that are also considered top programs in Canada might not ask for extracurricular activities. I know for me, when I applied to social science at U of T, or if I applied to math and business at Waterloo, they didn't ask for any extracurricular activities. So always check out the university website, or just find someone in their admissions office to ask them if you need to put down any extracurricular activities so that you can be prepared when you're applying. So as I stated before, I participate in numerous extracurricular activities over high school, student council, DECA, school newspaper. I also volunteered over 500 hours for the local constituency office for my member of parliament. And I think all these experiences really just added to the university application process and really allowed me to get into these top programs, because I think it comes to a point where marks only mean so much, because you can only gauge how this person interacts within their school community just based on their marks, right? You have to look at their extracurricular activities, you have to look at their sports team involvement, you have to look at any other factor to decide whether or not this person will be engaging and active in the university. But at the end of the day, extracurricular activities are a small fraction of university applications for top programs in Canada. They play a part if there are two people with the same marks from like the same high school or something along those lines, but other than that, make sure that you're doing these activities for you and to not stress out about them. Because at the end of the day, these extracurricular activities are for your growth and your experience. It's not for the university, it's not for anyone else, it's for you. So don't stress out about them, do what you're interested in, and then you'll have a great time and it will reflect perfectly on your university application. If you have any further questions about extracurricular activities, you can always message me on Instagram. I'll link my socials down below. And if you enjoyed this video and found it to be useful, make sure to like and subscribe as well. I'm trying to reach a few hundred subscribers, so make sure you do that, and I could put out more videos about the university application process to help you during this time, because I know when I applied it was super stressful, from just even going through like the basic steps like activating an OUAC number. If you're from Ontario, you'll know what that is, but if you have any questions, put them down in the comments and I might even make a new video out of it. Until then, good luck on your application.